Hey everybody, it's Tiff, your head expert over here at Sales for Everybody. Welcome back. If you haven't checked out our previous sessions, definitely recommend you go back and look at sessions 1 through 3 just to get some context on what we're diving into here today. So let's get right into it. So remember, this is all about demystifying the path to lucrative and impactful careers in sales for everybody. The goal here really is just to share information. You can take it, apply it, do what you need to do with it. But the hope is that you at least get somewhat of a blueprint to take the steps necessary to jump into a career in tech sales. So, the way that this works, every session, I remind folks that this is about education primarily, pretty casual, try to be informative and mostly conversational. Hope that you feel empowered once you leave here and that you're encouraged to go out and take the time you need to actually tackle this, even if it's 15 minutes per day. Just try, right? So that's how I was able to get into the industry myself, not having any background in sales or even software, really, for that matter. So, over the last few sessions, we've been talking about cold outreach. It's a little chilly, burr. And one of the main things that I told folks who had listened to the first couple of sessions is say, hey, go find 50 people who are in roles that are in or in a role that you think you might be interested in. So if it's like account executive or sales development representative or solutions engineer or sales engineer or solutions consultant, go find those folks. They're on LinkedIn. A lot of the time right now, folks are really self-focused and self-centered on LinkedIn and put all these big bogus words describing their titles. You want to filter through all that noise and just find the people who are in role currently. They're not advisors, they're not consultants to the people who do the work. You need to find people like me who do the work every day, get on their calendar and try to get some time with them to understand. So my recommendation was to send out 50 messages without any context or not even knowing these people. If you knew them, great, or if you had a connection to them, even better, through a third party or a friend, that would be great. But I'm assuming that you don't know these folks, right? Questions that I encourage that you ask yourself after you do something like this as well. How many did you actually do? 50 is a really big number. Some people would even say they don't even have 50 friends, which I would respect because having too many friends can be burdensome sometimes. But I also encourage you to ask yourself, how does it feel? Because it may not come natural to you. That's okay. I think that it doesn't have to be a perfect science. It is definitely more art than science for sure. But if you experienced severe discomfort or if you felt like this was too much for you, I'm going to encourage you to keep going. This is one of those moments where I'm going to say it's okay that you're uncomfortable, especially if this is the first time you're ever doing something like this. I've been doing this since I was 17, 18 years old when I was walking the campus of my university and had to get resources and had to get information and I didn't know how to do it. So I would just reach out to people cold turkey before LinkedIn. I would find their email or I would even generate their email alias looking at other people who had their company tag. So like it was like at company.com. I would just make up a bunch of different aliases in front of the at, and then one of them would usually hit, and then I would get a response, right? And so that grit and that hustle is what got me to where I am today, and I'm hoping that you can get some of that in this task as well. Now, reflecting as well on how it went, well, what would you do differently now next time? How would you improve your process? Once you figure all this out, go back at it again. Go find another 50 people because more than anything else, and there's a great book by Bill Burnett that talks about, I'll get the name and post it in the comments or at some point, but it basically helps you understand. Oh, Designing Your Life. Sorry, it came to me. Designing Your Life, where essentially he talks through, you want to talk to the people who are doing what you think you want to do because you don't know. You just don't know. And that lesson really stuck with me in terms of what we call informational interviews. All right. So the last few sessions had you do this really reflective exercise around taking a look in the mirror, answering these questions, getting to know yourself a little bit better. Also, diving deep and really learning how to describe yourself. And the new piece of this that I'm going to add is really that you want to be able to answer each of the questions that was in the last two slides and have them as almost like a script that you use during conversation with people that you have reached out to via cold outreach or via warm connection from a friend or a colleague. Your goal with each of these is to make sure that you have them in the back of your mind because I can guarantee you someone is going to ask you, well, what do you think you're good at? What's the last thing that you failed at? What's something that a prior coworker or colleague would say that you need to work on or have done really well at? Have the answers to those seared into your brain because it's not only the SMART technique, which we've beat it to death over the last 2 decades of, you got to have a framework for an answer. Fine, cool. But sales specifically is a relationship driven business, and people need to feel like you are a real person, that you are not a robot. And so these answers need to be true to you. As you can see, I did not put anything in here. I just gave you the first couple words of each of the statements so that you at least have a framework on how to say the thing in a way that's compelling. You can change it. You can use ChatGPT. You could Google, go find someone else on the YouTube universe that is actually doing this too, and use that framework as well. But this is really the thing that you need to study. And this is really going to be where I land the plane on this session, because this takes time. It might look simple looking at the screen, but when you actually sit down, and I would recommend that you sit down and you record yourself either on voice memo or even record yourself on camera, really nerve wracking answering these questions. You'll get a great point of view of how you sound, how people could perceive you. Send it to a couple friends, ask them, what do you think? It's a very vulnerable experience and a very vulnerable tactic, but it's one of those things that gets you out of your comfort zone and gets you really thinking about, well, what am I? Oh my God, I sound crazy, or I sound stuffy, or my voice doesn't carry as well as I thought it did, or my voice sounds weird on, audio. Like, there are all these things, and it takes time to get comfortable. But once you start getting those reps in, same thing as a gym, you'll build up the muscle, you'll feel comfortable, and you'll be able to get at it with anyone that you meet on the World Wide Web. Okay. So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and save. Be sure to share this with anyone you think that might find it helpful, and get to chit chatting in the comments. I'll see you on the next session of Sales for Everybody.